Sarah had always been an anxious person, but it wasn't until she was in her early 20s that her anxiety began to seriously impact her daily life. She would worry constantly about everything from her job to her relationships to the state of the world at large. As her anxiety grew more and more intense, Sarah found herself becoming increasingly isolated from the people around her. She was afraid to go out in public, afraid to try new things, and afraid that she would never be able to overcome her fears. Despite her best efforts to push through her anxiety, Sarah found that it was starting to take over her life. She would spend hours every day obsessing over worst-case scenarios and imagining all of the things that could go wrong. For Sarah, living with anxiety was like constantly carrying a heavy weight on her shoulders. She knew that she needed to find a way to manage her anxiety if she ever wanted to be able to live a normal, happy life. And so, she began to search for strategies and techniques that could help her cope with her anxiety and take back control of her mind. After years of struggling with anxiety, Sarah had reached a breaking point. She knew that she couldn't keep living her life in a constant state of fear and worry. It was time for her to take action and find ways to manage her anxiety. At first, Sarah was hesitant to try anything new. She was used to feeling anxious all the time, and the idea of doing anything different seemed overwhelming. But then she realized that if she wanted things to change, she had to be willing to try something new. And so, Sarah made the decision to take action. She started by doing some research online, looking for tips and strategies for managing anxiety. She read articles and watched videos about deep breathing, visualization, and mindfulness. As she learned more about these techniques, Sarah began to feel hopeful that she could find a way to manage her anxiety. She was inspired by the stories of other people who had struggled with anxiety and had found ways to overcome it. With newfound determination, Sarah made a promise to herself that she would do everything in her power to improve her mental health and overcome her anxiety. She knew it wouldn't be easy, but she was willing to put in the work. Sarah started her journey to managing her anxiety by trying out some simple coping strategies. The first technique she tried was deep breathing. Whenever she felt herself getting anxious, Sarah would take a few deep breaths and focus on the sensation of the air moving in and out of her body. She found that this helped to calm her mind and slow down her racing thoughts. Another technique that Sarah found helpful was visualization. She would picture herself in a peaceful, calming environment, like a beach or a forest. By imagining herself in a relaxing setting, Sarah was able to take her mind off of her worries and focus on the present moment. These strategies weren't a cure-all for Sarah's anxiety, but they were a good starting point. She found that by practicing deep breathing and visualization on a regular basis, she was better able to manage her anxiety when it did arise. Sarah also began to explore other coping strategies, like journaling and progressive muscle relaxation. She was starting to build up a toolkit of techniques that she could use whenever she felt overwhelmed by anxiety. As Sarah continued to explore different coping strategies, she discovered the benefits of mindfulness meditation and regular exercise in reducing anxiety. Sarah began to practice mindfulness meditation every day, taking a few minutes to focus on her breath and quiet her mind. She found that this practice helped her to be more present in the moment and less caught up in her anxious thoughts. Exercise was another tool that Sarah used to manage her anxiety. She started going for walks outside every day and found that the fresh air and movement helped to clear her mind and reduce her anxiety. She also started doing yoga and found that the combination of movement and mindfulness was particularly helpful in calming her mind and body. Incorporating mindfulness and exercise into her daily routine was a turning point for Sarah. She felt more energized, focused, and able to tackle the challenges that came her way. She was starting to see that by taking care of her body and mind, she could improve her overall mental health and well-being. While Sarah was making progress in managing her anxiety through self-help strategies, she realized that she needed additional support to fully overcome her anxiety. Sarah made the decision to seek out professional help and found a therapist who specialized in anxiety disorders. In therapy, Sarah learned more about the root causes of her anxiety and how to identify and challenge the negative thoughts and beliefs that were contributing to her anxiety. Her therapist also helped her to develop a more structured approach to managing her anxiety, including setting specific goals and working on exposure therapy to confront her fears in a safe and controlled environment. Through therapy, Sarah was able to gain a deeper understanding of her anxiety and develop more effective coping strategies. She felt more empowered and in control of her life, and her anxiety no longer felt like an overwhelming force in her life. Seeking professional help was a key step in Sarah's journey to managing her anxiety, and she was grateful for the support and guidance that her therapist provided. As Sarah continued to work with her therapist, she developed a comprehensive treatment plan for managing her anxiety. This plan included a combination of self-help strategies, professional support, and medication. Sarah continued to practice deep breathing, visualization, and mindfulness meditation on a regular basis, and she made sure to incorporate exercise into her daily routine. She also started keeping a journal to track her thoughts and feelings and identify patterns that triggered her anxiety. In addition to self-help strategies, Sarah continued to see her therapist on a regular basis. Together, they worked on exposure therapy to help Sarah confront her fears and build up her confidence. They also worked on cognitive behavioral therapy techniques to identify and challenge negative thought patterns. Finally, Sarah's therapist recommended that she try medication to help manage her anxiety. Sarah was initially hesitant about taking medication, but she trusted her therapist and decided to give it a try. With her therapist's guidance, Sarah worked with her doctor to find a medication that worked for her, and she found that it helped to alleviate her symptoms and make it easier to manage her anxiety. Having a comprehensive treatment plan gave Sarah a sense of structure and control over her anxiety. She felt like she had a roadmap for managing her symptoms and was better equipped to handle any challenges that came her way. As Sarah continued to work on her treatment plan, she started to see significant progress in managing her anxiety. She noticed that her anxiety attacks were less frequent and less intense, and that she was able to manage her symptoms more effectively when they did arise. She also felt more confident in herself and her ability to handle challenging situations. She was able to attend social events and try new things without feeling overwhelmed by anxiety. Sarah's progress was not always linear, and she had setbacks and moments of frustration along the way. But with the support of her therapist and her own determination, she was able to stay committed to her treatment plan and continue making progress. She was proud of herself for taking control of her anxiety and for the progress she had made. She knew that managing anxiety would be an ongoing process, but she felt equipped with the tools and resources she needed to keep moving forward. Sarah's journey to managing her anxiety was not easy, but it was ultimately rewarding. She learned to take care of herself, seek help when she needed it, and develop effective coping strategies. Through her hard work and dedication, she was able to overcome the grip that anxiety had on her life and move forward with confidence and resilience. As Sarah continued to make progress in managing her own anxiety, she felt a growing desire to help others who were struggling with similar issues. She started volunteering with local mental health organizations, sharing her story and experiences with others who were going through similar challenges. She found that helping others not only gave her a sense of purpose and fulfillment but also reinforced the skills and strategies she had learned in managing her own anxiety. Sarah also became a vocal advocate for mental health, speaking out about the importance of reducing the stigma around mental illness and encouraging others to seek help when they need it. Through her work in helping others, Sarah discovered that her journey to managing anxiety was not just about her own personal growth and healing, but also about making a positive impact on the world around her. She continued to be a source of support and inspiration for others who were struggling with anxiety, reminding them that they were not alone and that with the right tools and resources, they could overcome their struggles and live fulfilling, healthy lives. Even though Sarah had made significant progress in managing her anxiety, she knew that there would still be obstacles and challenges along the way. One of the biggest obstacles Sarah faced was a major life change, as she was offered a job opportunity in a new city. While she was excited about the job, the thought of moving to a new place and starting over was daunting, and it triggered feelings of anxiety. Sarah used the skills and strategies she had learned in therapy to manage her anxiety and break down the overwhelming task of moving into smaller, more manageable steps. She made a plan, set goals for herself, and reached out to friends and family for support. Despite her anxiety, Sarah was able to successfully make the move and start her new job. She felt proud of herself for overcoming this major obstacle and for not letting her anxiety hold her back. Through this experience, Sarah learned that managing anxiety was not about eliminating it entirely but rather about developing the skills and resilience to navigate through it. She knew that there would be more challenges and obstacles in the future, but she felt better equipped to face them with confidence and determination. Sarah's journey to managing anxiety was an ongoing process, but with the right tools, resources, and support, she knew that she could continue to overcome obstacles and live a fulfilling, healthy life. As Sarah reflected on her journey to managing her anxiety, she felt a sense of hope and optimism for the future. She knew that there would be ups and downs, but she felt confident in her ability to navigate through them. Sarah had learned that managing anxiety was not just about managing symptoms but also about taking care of herself holistically.